Depp could be Meghan Markle's middle name.
Meghan, throughout this piece, there's also at the very end, she says Meghan is remarkably at ease with the surrealism of global celebrity. In fact,
what happens when one of the most scrutinized public figures in the world meets the sharpest satire on TV? South Park has built a decades-long reputation for roasting celebrities without mercy. And now, Meghan Markle is in the crosshairs. Their latest parodies target her Netflix holiday special, with Love, Meghan, Holiday Celebration, sparking reactions that some are calling a full-blown meltdown. But is this really about the show, or is it about something deeper in her public persona? Hey, let's talk about what's been going on with Meghan Markle and the surprising cultural moment she's found herself in after the release of her Netflix holiday special. You've probably heard a lot of chatter online, but when you take a step back and look at the whole picture, it's a fascinating mix of media fatigue, satire, and public perception. Meghan Markle isn't just a former actress or a member of the British royal family anymore. After stepping back from royal duties, she has been carving out a new career path filled with media deals, books, and TV projects. Most notably, her lifestyle series with Love, Meghan on Netflix. It's that show, and specifically, her 2025 holiday special titled With Love, Meghan, Holiday Celebration, that's become a lightning rod for both criticism and satire this season. The idea behind the holiday special was simple: Meghan sharing her favorite festive traditions and lifestyle tips with the world. From decorating Christmas trees and crafting heartfelt gifts to cooking seasonal meals with friends and family, it was supposed to be cozy, warm, and approachable for viewers at home. Netflix even released previews highlighting her decking the halls, creating holiday feasts, and offering simple how-tos for anyone who wanted to try her ideas themselves. Unfortunately for Meghan, with Love, Meghan, Holiday Celebration didn't quite land that way with everyone. Critics were quick to judge the show, calling it cringe, overly polished, even disconnected from what people expect from genuine holiday storytelling. Some reviewers described the program as forced fun, like an awkward office party where everyone is told to smile, and others said that while Meghan clearly wanted the special to dazzle, it often felt contrived, rather than genuinely heartwarming.
You might be looking at Meghan Markle saying, well, she's in Harper's Bazaar, she's in a big magazine. Sweetie, this is a major downgrade from being British royalty.
Even beyond professional critics, regular viewers have had strong reactions as well. On social media platforms and community threads, people expressed everything from mild amusement to outright boredom with the special. A recurring theme in these conversations is a sense of exhaustion, not just with this show, but with Meghan's entire media presence. Comments shared online suggest that her projects often feel more like carefully curated PR moments than authentic glimpses into her real life, and that sentiment has bled into how audiences respond to With Love, Meghan, Holiday Celebration. Now here's where things get interesting. While Meghan was still waiting for the world to warm up to her holiday cheer, South Park, the long-running animated satire known for skewering public figures without mercy, went and added its own commentary to the conversation. You don't have to watch the show long to know that South Park doesn't pick targets at random. It takes what's already in the public discourse, exaggerates it, and throws it back at the audience in a way that forces people to confront it. That's exactly what they've done with Meghan and Prince Harry over the past year. Earlier in 2025, South Park aired an episode titled The Worldwide Privacy Tour, a parody that cast Meghan and Harry as a pair of Canadian royalty longing for privacy, while engaging in what the satire portrayed as non-stop publicity stunts. The joke wasn't that they're famous. It was the perceived contradiction between publicly lamenting media intrusion and actively participating in a global media blitz of books, specials, and interviews. What made that episode sting a bit more than a typical celebrity spoof was how grounded it was in public perception. It wasn't a random hit piece. It was a mirror held up to how some people genuinely saw the couple. What's unusual, though, is that South Park didn't stop there. Unlike many one-off jokes the show makes at the expense of public figures, South Park kept returning to Meghan and Harry throughout 2025, and each time the focus shifted slightly. The early satire played on the privacy paradox, then moved into broader mockery, questioning authenticity and authority, and now it has taken aim at the very thing Meghan was promoting, her holiday special itself. The show's recurring engagement has only amplified how many viewers are interpreting her media efforts not as charming and relatable, but as overproduced and self-focused. With this latest wave of satire targeting the holiday special, viewers online have been even more vocal. Some praised South Park for pointing out what they see as Meghan's awkward navigation of fame and public perception, while others simply enjoyed how the satire underscored broader frustrations they feel about celebrity PR culture. What's particularly interesting about this moment is how South Park isn't just making fun of Meghan's show. It's spotlighting something deeper: why audiences today are so quick to question whether a celebrity's public persona is authentic or manufactured. At the same time, none of this exists in a vacuum. With Love, Meghan, Holiday Celebration also struggled in terms of viewership. It failed to break into Netflix's weekly top 10 in major markets, which, for a show featuring one of the most talked-about names in the world, is notable. Earlier seasons of With Love, Meghan did well enough upon their initial release to crack Netflix's global top 10, but the holiday special couldn't replicate that success. And that difference in performance has also fueled commentary online. It's important to say that not all reactions to Meghan's special are negative. There are viewers who genuinely enjoy the cozy vibe, the festive energy, and her attempts to share traditions and craft ideas. Some found it comforting and fun, and they feel most of the criticism misses the intentionally lighthearted intent of the holiday episode. But even among supporters, the juxtaposition with South Park's satire has created an interesting cultural moment where the conversation isn't just about whether the episode was good or bad. It's about what it says about celebrity authenticity and how we engage with media personalities today. So when people talk about Meghan Markle melting down after South Park targeted her holiday show, what's really happening is a very public collision between celebrity branding and cultural satire. Meghan's post-royal media career has always walked a tightrope between personal expression and curated image, and this latest chapter highlights how unpredictable that balancing act can be. Whether you think she handled it gracefully or not, the fact that South Park kept coming back to her project tells you something, not just about satire, but about how audiences are digesting and critiquing the media figures they once adored.
Viewers didn't object to the words themselves. In isolation, the statement sounded reasonable, even thoughtful. The issue wasn't what was being said, it was how consistently, precisely, and predictably it was delivered.
In the end, this isn't just about one TV special or one animated show making a joke. It's about how powerful satire can be in shaping public perception, especially when it echoes what people already sense but haven't quite articulated. And for Meghan Markle, this moment with South Park and the Netflix holiday special may be more than just another viral story. It might be a turning point in how she navigates celebrity and media moving forward. Let's break down what's been happening with Meghan Markle and the backlash around her Netflix holiday special in a way that feels like one friend talking to another. Honest, conversational, and easy to follow. You know how sometimes a big name releases something they hope will connect warmly with the world, but instead it kind of backfires. That's exactly the vibe here. And it's not just critics talking. Audiences and satire are having a field day too. When with Love, Meghan. Holiday Celebration dropped on Netflix in December 2025. The idea was simple: show the festive side of Meghan Markle, share holiday traditions, crafts, recipes, and give viewers a cozy peek at celebrations and joyful moments. It was meant to be warm, light, and elegant, kind of like a seasonal dinner party you'd invite millions of people to watch. Instead, it kicked off a pile of criticism that quickly snowballed into something much bigger than just another Netflix special.
Listened, but they didn't absorb. They watched, but they didn't connect. Most public figures would have stepped back at that point. She didn't. Satire doesn't grow weaker when it's ignored. It grows stronger when it's answered with more exposure.
Critics didn't hold back. Reviews described the special as feeling inauthentic, overly curated, and oddly lacking the genuine warmth you'd expect from something with the word holiday in the title. Instead of feeling like a relaxed Christmas gathering, many felt like they were watching something polished but distant, like a holiday commercial that forgot to be fun. Some reviewers went so far as to say the content felt sad or self-indulgent, and comparing it to other festive programming, these critics couldn't find much that felt heartfelt or relatable. Viewers were equally blunt on social media. Rather than excited chatter about favorite segments or newfound traditions, a lot of commentary leaned into exhaustion and indifference. Scroll through Reddit threads or Twitter replies to the show's trailer, and you'll see phrases like forced, staged, and unrelatable popping up over and over. Many people weren't just unimpressed. They were bored or frustrated that a holiday show seemed so wrapped up in image and so lacking in connection. Some even compared the tone to a branded lifestyle advert, more than a festive special. Things got even rougher when an entertainment outlet reported that the holiday special scored a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, at least for a period after its release, which is a rare outcome and often used as shorthand for a critical flop. While Rotten Tomatoes later showed a small sample of reviews with a low approval rating rather than a literal 0, the initial buzz of a 0% rating circulated widely online and became part of how people framed their reactions, as if even critics collectively shrugged and said, meh.
It didn't feel funny to everyone. It felt invasive, because once satire enters family space, holiday space, the image of motherhood and home, it stops being distant. It feels personal, and laughter changes when that happens.
Then there's the broader audience response beyond critics. Social media threads went viral, highlighting just how unimpressed many users were. On Reddit, people didn't just complain about the show's pacing or content. They connected it to a broader sense of predictability around Meghan's public persona. In some threads, users said that the satirical portrayals of her by shows like South Park didn't feel mean or unfair. They felt inescapably on brand, like the jokes were just amplifying what people already suspected or had grown tired of. Let's pause for a moment and talk about South Park, because this is where things really go from meh to cultural conversation. South Park is one of those long-running animated satire shows that doesn't just tease celebrities lightly. It takes what's already in the public discourse and exaggerates it to make a point. They first took aim at Meghan and Prince Harry in an episode called The Worldwide Privacy Tour, where the characters parody them as Canadian royalty obsessed with privacy, yet constantly seeking publicity. That paradox, publicly complaining about media attention while participating in media tours, books, specials, and interviews, was the core of the satire, and it resonated with viewers who felt there was something inconsistent in the public narrative versus the media reality. There were even reports that Meghan was upset and overwhelmed by how the episode portrayed her and Harry, though those came from entertainment reports and were never confirmed as direct statements from her. At the same time, the couple's representatives denied any plans to sue or take legal action, describing those rumors as baseless and boring. So imagine this mix: a holiday show that's already getting tagged as forced and staged by audiences and critics, and a cultural staple like South Park, pointing a big, exaggerated spotlight on that persona yet again. Some people felt like the satire was no longer just a joke. It became a cultural echo of what the audience was already feeling. Rather than pushing satire against viewers' judgments, the South Park depiction seemed to amplify the online perception that Meghan's media projects were overly crafted and lacking depth or spontaneity. And here's where reactions got especially interesting. Rather than just laughing off the parody, Some reports hinted that Meghan was upset by it. Words like annoyed and overwhelmed were used in some articles to describe her reaction to the South Park portrayal, especially since the satire hit on themes of media excess and self-presentation in the public eye. But at the same time, official spokespeople denied any serious conflict or legal retaliation, and it became clear that no lawsuit was actually underway. So why does this matter? Because audiences aren't just reacting to one holiday episode. They're responding to a pattern of perception. Critics and fans alike have been saying for a while that Meghan's media presence feels crafted rather than authentic. Whether that's fair or not depends on who you ask. But what's undeniable is that the conversation isn't just, "Did I like this show anymore?" It's become, "What does this say about her overall brand and connection with the public?" The South Park satire only gave a humorous, and for many, painfully relatable, frame to that broader sentiment.
This is the part most viewers never see, but everyone inside the industry understands. South Park isn't just a comedy show in Los Angeles. It's a cultural thermometer. When they return to the same person again and again, executives don't laugh first.
What's also interesting is that the heat around the holiday special didn't just come from critics or satire fans. Many regular viewers seemed exhausted in a way that wasn't about hate, but indifference. People weren't angrily railing against the show. A lot of the online reaction was more like a collective shrug, as if viewers were just over it, over the media spectacle, over the curated scenes, and over the pattern of polished messaging that already feels familiar. In internet culture, indifference can be just as brutal as harsh criticism, because it means audience engagement drops and discourse shifts from defending or debating to ignoring or moving on. When satire stops shocking and starts reinforcing what people already think, that's when it becomes almost less funny and more telling. In this case, South Park didn't invent the criticism. It highlighted and exaggerated it in a way that made the audience confront it more directly. Comedy often follows public sentiment, and when that sentiment is already leaning towards skepticism or fatigue, satire can feel less like a show joke and more like a cultural commentary. So did Meghan Markle melt down after the South Park parody of her Netflix holiday special? The answer is more layered than a simple yes or no. There were reports of her being upset or overwhelmed, but no major public meltdown or legal fight actually happened. What we can say is that her holiday special didn't land as she probably hoped. Critics and viewers were lukewarm or harsh in their reactions, and the South Park treatment stirred up a conversation about authenticity, predictability, and how audiences perceive celebrities who are deeply tied to their own media narratives. It's a fascinating moment where a holiday show, satire, and public perception collided in a way that's more revealing about cultural sensibilities than about any one person. You know, it's honestly fascinating how Meghan Markle's latest Netflix holiday special became more than just another TV show. It turned into a full-on cultural moment, and a lot of that has to do with South Park. Think about it. This isn't some random cartoon making a one-off joke. South Park has been around for decades, and part of what makes it so influential is that it acts like a cultural barometer. The creators, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, have an uncanny ability to pick up on what the public is already feeling, but maybe hasn't fully articulated. They don't invent scandals, they amplify unease. And this time, Meghan Markle was the subject of repeated parody, and it's hard not to notice what that says about public sentiment.
He is doing a cooking show on Netflix. I only watched 5 seconds of it, and I thought she was going to cut her wrist by trying to zest a lemon. This girl has never been in the kitchen in her life.
We just want to be normal people. All this attention is so hard.
Her holiday special, With Love, Meghan. Holiday Celebration, released in December 2025, was supposed to be cozy, cheerful, and festive. It featured Meghan decorating Christmas trees, putting together arts and crafts, cooking seasonal meals, and spending time with friends and family. On paper, it sounds like the kind of heartwarming holiday programming people flock to during December. But when it hit Netflix, the reactions were mixed at best and harsh at worst. Critics described the special as overly curated, staged, and lacking warmth, which is the last thing you want for a holiday show. Social media commentary echoed that sentiment, with many viewers expressing fatigue or indifference rather than excitement. Comments ranged from calling it forced and predictable to outright boring. In some corners of the internet, Reddit threads and discussion boards dissected the special in real time, pointing out that it felt like a polished PR exercise rather than a genuine glimpse into family or holiday traditions. One entertainment outlet even reported that the holiday special scored 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, which, whether literally accurate or not, cemented the narrative that this project was a rare critical flop. Now, here's where South Park comes in. Over the past year, the show has repeatedly parodied Meghan and Prince Harry. Remember the worldwide privacy tour? That episode mocked Meghan and Harry as Canadian royalty obsessed with privacy, while actively engaging in global media tours, interviews, and Netflix deals. The joke hit on a contradiction many people had already noticed, publicly complaining about media intrusion while simultaneously creating highly curated media projects. This kind of satire isn't just about laughs. It's about highlighting perceived gaps between public statements and private actions. By repeatedly returning to Meghan's persona, South Park isn't merely joking. It's contributing to a cultural conversation about authenticity, credibility, and celebrity fatigue. Repeated mockery works differently from a one-off joke. When South Park parodies someone multiple times, it starts shaping how the public perceives that person. The first parody may get a laugh, the second reinforces the perception, and by the third, it signals a broader shift in public sentiment. Comedy like this can influence perception as strongly as traditional reviews or news coverage. It isn't just humor. It becomes a lens through which audiences evaluate a public figure. In Meghan's case, her holiday special was already receiving critiques for being staged and polished, and the satire acted like a mirror, reflecting those critiques back at the public in an exaggerated but recognizable form. Fans online even described the cartoon version of Meghan as predictable, reinforcing the idea that her media persona has become overly familiar and formulaic. This cycle of parody and audience reaction has consequences that go beyond jokes. When public figures are repeatedly satirized, it signals more than humor. It signals a shift in perception and engagement. People begin to question credibility, authority, and authenticity. For Meghan Markle, the sequence of critiques, from initial skepticism about her media projects to mockery of her persona in South Park, and finally to a mixed reception of her holiday special, creates a narrative pattern. Each parody, review, or comment amplifies the idea that audiences are no longer buying into the curated image. The humor becomes almost secondary. What matters more is that the satire validates existing public feelings. Interestingly, the public's reaction to Meghan's special wasn't full-blown outrage. It was indifference. Indifference can be far more damaging than outright criticism because it signals disengagement. When people stop caring, they stop engaging, sharing, or defending a public figure's work. That's exactly what happened here. Online commentary didn't just critique the special, it highlighted a broader weariness with Meghan's media presence. Viewers didn't debate the jokes. They noted that the jokes felt familiar and even inevitable. They recognized the patterns in her public persona before the parody even aired, which is precisely why repeated satire works so effectively in shaping cultural perception. Beyond the audience, industry insiders also notice the implications. In Hollywood, repeated satire is often read as a signal of reputational fatigue. When executives see a public figure repeatedly mocked for the same traits, it can influence how that person's future projects are received. Shows, book deals, or sponsorships aren't just judged on quality. They're filtered through a lens shaped by public perception. For Meghan, being the target of repeated satire by South Park isn't just a punchline. It's a subtle signal that her brand has reached a saturation point, where audiences are questioning the authenticity and relatability that her media projects attempt to convey. What's fascinating is how this dynamic plays out with a holiday special, which is usually meant to evoke warmth, nostalgia, and personal connection. Instead, with Love, Meghan. Holiday Celebration collided with the audience's existing skepticism. The polished production, carefully choreographed segments, and deliberate messaging, intended to showcase festive cheer, felt over-rehearsed when placed under the lens of repeated parody. Even moments that were supposed to feel intimate, like cooking or decorating, were perceived as performed rather than lived. Audiences didn't necessarily hate the content, they simply didn't find it genuine. And once satire enters the mix, amplifying what people already sense, it reinforces that perception. It's also important to note that satire like South Park doesn't require facts or investigation. It works because it exaggerates truths people intuitively feel. For Meghan, that meant her persona was depicted in a way that aligned perfectly with what some viewers were already thinking. Carefully managed, media savvy, and sometimes overly curated. The repeated mockery essentially confirmed what had been quietly suspected, turning skepticism into something visible and culturally recognized.
I've always said I think a lot of the things they've done after leaving the royal family has been very tacky, in particular the Oprah interview. But I think this was probably the final straw for me, because I just thought, wow, you're just running with it shamelessly.
Of course, reports surfaced that Meghan may have been upset or overwhelmed by the satire, though there was never any lawsuit or official confrontation. The reactions were largely private, and her team opted not to publicly engage. That silence, ironically, only reinforced the public narrative. When a public figure doesn't counter repeated parody, audiences often interpret it as a tacit acknowledgement of the critique. In Meghan's case, the combination of an underwhelming holiday special and repeated satire by a respected cultural barometer like South Park signaled to viewers that this was a moment of cultural judgment rather than a scandal. Ultimately, this entire situation reveals something larger about media, satire, and celebrity culture. Public perception can shift quietly and incrementally, and repeated commentary, whether through parody, online discussion, or reviews, can crystallize into a widely recognized pattern. For Meghan Markle, the repeated South Park parodies and the lukewarm reception of her holiday special together created a narrative. Audiences are skeptical, fatigued, and critically evaluating her authenticity. This isn't just about one television program. It's about how public figures navigate a world where satire, commentary, and audience expectations can shape reputations as powerfully as any press release or marketing campaign. So, did Meghan Markle melt down after South Park targeted her holiday special? If you mean a public, dramatic meltdown, no, that didn't happen. But the real takeaway is subtler and more revealing. The combination of repeated parody, critical feedback, and audience indifference shows how fragile public perception can be, and how it can shift quietly but decisively. South Park acted not as an instigator, but as a cultural amplifier, spotlighting the cracks in her media persona and signaling a broader conversation about authenticity, celebrity fatigue, and the fine line between performance and reality. For Meghan Markle, this moment isn't just a critique of one special. It's a reflection of how audiences now engage with her entire public persona, and it's shaping the story she can tell next.